former Speaker of Australian Parliament, who received you. Michael Denby,
Yes,
very
old
good
friend.
friend.
Yes, I know.
Ajay Singh Mukhotia, because India is hosting
Oh, right.
the Tibet Support Group.
Mongolian.
And Tibet Initiative Deutschland from Germany, from Taiwan, Democracy Foundation, from Hong Kong,
We need your prayers.
from Japan, from South Africa, Rising Star, the Prince Buthelezi Constitutional Initiative. From Israel,
Oh, really?
Older now.
Yes. Oh, yes. I love the white hair.
former Deputy Prime Minister and
Right.
Parliamentarian.
This time without the daughter. Small
Michael Van Walden
From the
from
bottom.
Nepal. Surendraji Pereira.
Please, sit down.
Your Highness, we have 180 participants from 43 countries, and some of them, as you can see, you witness some have gray hair, even gray beard, have been with us for 30 plus years. And we went through the past resolutions, and especially of the first Tibet Support Group conference in 1990. And we passed 8 resolutions, of which I think we have implemented, except for 2, we implemented all 6. But we have to do more. And through this gathering, we have more time for breakout session where there'll be more discussions. And all of them agree that Tibet issue is very important. And we also believe that our time is coming pretty soon. And we will do our best to implement the first resolution of 1990 is to have His Holiness step on the soil of Tibet and be with Tibetans. That is the wish and desire of participants here. And as per CTA, middle way approach is our policy, even though some of our friends have different views, but all agree that middle way as a strategy is a brilliant strategy and needs our support. So Holiness, so all of them are more of your friends and your followers and Tibet. So they are very grateful to be here, Holiness. Thank you very much.
I think regarding Tibet for issue, Tibet, I think with long history and a very, very rich culture, and as far as knowledge about Buddhism is concerned, I think Tibet now, on this planet, in this moment, I think the most sort of what's the advanced knowledge about Buddha Dharma, about Nalanda tradition. So some publication from here, some Chinese university, you see, some professor have the opportunity to read such a book. And the public level, of course, no, everything control. So some of the Chinese professor and the Lendu University, after they saw, you see, these books, then they express, Tibetan Buddhism is true Nalanda tradition. And that Buddhism very scientific way of approach. So can go side by side with modern science. Some Chinese scholar, they express that. So it is quite true. I am going to sort of speak there. Now today's world, a lot of problem. Many problem is actually our own creation. So we need, say, education or knowledge about our inner world, how to tackle destructive emotion such as anger, jealousy, and through that way you can reduce frustration. So these are ancient Indian knowledge. I always is telling. Ancient India, 3,000 years ago, already developed concept of ahimsa. Ahimsa very much related with the mental level, respect others' right, and not harming other. So there is the sort of at the motivation level, the karuna, compassion. So over 3,000 years. So then we Tibet in 8th century, the Tibetan, as I mentioned earlier, is a Nalendra master, you see, invited. So we since 8th century, we kept all this knowledge. As a result, Tibetan knowledge about Buddhist philosophy is, I think, top class. And you Japanese also. I know, you see, many Japanese friends. Of course, I admire you kept all this knowledge. However, on top, about one Japanese sort of, on the Buddhist, I think, the temple. Or maybe, so he once told me, we Japanese, the Heart Sutra, we always recite. But then what he said, without knowing the meaning. And he very much appreciates our explanation about Heart Sutra's meaning. So he frankly told me like that. So now today's world, I think the full knowledge about Buddha Dharma, first Dharma will, second Dharma will, third Dharma will, all thoroughly sort of study and fuller knowledge, I think, available only in Tibetan tradition. So that brings us self-confidence. So now, unfortunately, the Chinese communists, you see, they really want to keep Tibet permanently. So they really, you see, try to eliminate Tibetan, or say, including Tibetan language. But now, several decades, more suppression, more determination. Tibetan people, because of this knowledge, this history, Tibetan, quite proud people. And naturally, the Chinese love their own country, their own culture. Similarly, we also love our own country, our own culture. So over 70 years, Tibetan sort of spirit very strong inside Tibet. So this past 70 years remain like that. So in future also, you see, Tibetan determination will remain. That's I'm quite sure, 100% sure. Because our culture is something now many Westerners, and including many scientists, now very much appreciate. So therefore, you see, this knowledge not only concern for Tibetan people, but this knowledge, I think, entire 7 billion human being can get some sort of benefit, not as a religion, but I usually telling academic subject, how to tackle our destructive emotion, how to keep peace of mind. So therefore, some of my friend who reside in Peking, sometime back I met, he told me, since you see the one former Field Marshal Yi Xianyi's son, he knows Yi Xianyi's son. Then many occasions they come together and enjoy food or like that. So because that person's father very famous, and I know Yi Qianyi. So many leaders, sort of family, come together. So now some of them expressed their past 70 years, past now few decades, sort of years, their policy regarding Tibet is unrealistic, wrong. So now they have to find more realistic approach about Tibetan problem. So even some of these hardliner Chinese communist leader, you see, they also now getting some kind of dilemma, how to tackle Tibetan problem. So then, you see, outside world, now over 60 years, you see, much more people now showing sympathy, interest about Tibetan problem. So it is very important from outside world, you see, more voice concern about Tibet is very helpful. On one side, Tibetan determination, no question, very strong. And because determination such strong inside Tibet, we outside refugee, handful refugee, but we also carrying that determination. We as a sort of also, it is our sort of moral responsibility, Tibetan, inside Tibet, under difficult circumstances, they kept these sort of determination. Then we are a free country, naturally, our moral responsibility to keep these things. So meantime, more voice, more support from also rest of the world is very essential, very helpful. So I want to thank on behalf of 6 million Tibetan people. You really, you see, very, very kind. Thank you. So, so from time to time, this kind of meeting, you see, express support, you see, Tibetan struggle is very essential, very, very useful. And then regarding Tibetan issue, the political side since 2001 and particularly 2010, 11, I totally retired. So he carry as a elected political leadership. So political field, he my boss. But I must add very quickly, spiritual field, I'm his boss. So I think as far as practice of democracy is concerned, I think we handful Tibetan sincerely practice that. So we can tell Chinese communists, we can teach you about how to carry free election. Like that. So then my responsibility is, firstly, Tibetan culture. That I feel, this knowledge which we kept now last several decades, I have meeting with many religious leaders, many professors, scholars in different fields, and particularly scientists. So who have some interest about the human mind. And then as far as psychology is concerned, I usually is telling, publicly express the Western psychology, compare ancient Indian psychology. The Western psychology looks like a kindergarten level. Very beginning. In this country, India, as I mentioned earlier, over 3,000 years already developed. This is the knowledge about mind, how to tackle our mind. This, I think, originally come from religion, but now, again, India's tradition, secular. Whether believer or non-believer, whether believe this religion or that religion, that's personal matter. But this psychology and logic and philosophy, such as quantum physics. One, my old, now no longer, Raja Ramana, one Indian great scholar. Once he told me, quantum physics in the West, something new. In this country, 2,500 years ago, already developed quantum physics. It is true. When I met, Tibetan knowledge, not Buddhism, not only just Buddhism, but as a subject of academic subject, about the mind, about emotion, how to tackle emotion. These, I think, world need is in this knowledge. So therefore, preserve, which we learned and kept 1,000 years, 2,000, I think, look at the chimney. Over 1,000 years we kept. Now this knowledge, I really feel, as an academic subject, I think world need, world get some benefit. So in order to do that, these days, my latest commitment is revival of this ancient Indian knowledge within India. Modern India, pay much attention about modern education. That's materialistic education. Only external thing. Now, ancient Indian knowledge about mind, about emotion, how to tackle emotion. These things now this country must revive through education, not prayer, not sort of worship like that. So that's my latest commitment. My number one commitment, I am a human being, one of the 7 billion human beings. The human being, according to some scientists, basic human nature is more compassionate. It is true. We are a social animal. So individual's survival or happiness depend on the community. That's because we are a social animal. And the way we born and the way we grown up is a mother's affection. Without that, we can't survive. So that's, according to scientists, basic human nature is compassionate. Now, education should include, these days I am expressing the hygiene of physical from kindergarten level. We teach Now, similarly, we should have hygiene of emotion must come together. Hygiene of physical, hygiene of emotion. So, then healthy physical, similarly, healthy mind. So that, I think from Tibetan cultural heritage, you see, we can make some contribution. So my number one commitment is try to promote human warm-heartedness, the basic human nature, compassionate. Therefore, it is very possible to promote warm-heartedness through education. This is my number one commitment. Number two commitment, I am Buddhist, and religious harmony. Example, India, truly religious harmony there. Now next week I'm going to Amritsar and to participate celebration about Guru Nanak. I think Guru Nanak, Hindu background, but take pilgrimage to Mecca. Look at this, 1,000 years, I think. Guru Nanak. More than 500 years. So, that is the India's tradition. Religious, mutual respect. So, I am Buddhist. I follow India's tradition, religious harmony. So, wherever, when I visit different places, whenever is there some possibility, I always pay respect, a church, mandir, and then Hindu temple, and then mosque, and synagogue. So, I feel religious harmony is very important. All major religious tradition, you see, carry same message of love. Because I usually is telling, I also feel these religions are human creation. Of course, if you believe God, then of course God created. But non-theistic religion, then all these religion, human creation. So naturally, for human being, loving kindness is the best the best thing for us from childhood. So therefore, in spite of that, now today, in the name of religion, killing each other, unthinkable. Just next, India, the Middle East area, even within same Muslim, Sunni, Shia, killing each other. In Afghanistan also. Unthinkable. All these religions suppose teach us compassion. And then theistic religion, we all created by one God. It's as our Father. So according to that theory, that belief, entire 7 billion human beings are brothers, sisters from one Father. That's God. God's nature is infinite love. So if you think seriously that, then how can kill each other? We all children of God, same Father, and that God nature is infinite love. So we must love each other. We all children of same God, same Father. So very powerful. And then non-theistic, no God creator, but still, you see the very simple sort of logic. If you help other, you get benefit. If you harm other, you get negative consequences. There's karmic theory, karma theory, the Indian tradition. Jainism, no creator. Buddhism, no creator, but rather self-creation. So all these different major religious traditions, different philosophy, but all carry message of love. With that, forgiveness, tolerance, contentment, self-discipline. All religions. So, in spite of that, now in the reality, killing in the name of religion, unthinkable. So we need effort to promote religious harmony. Is it possible? It is possible. India, over a billion population, and India basically complicated nation. But as far as religious harmony is concerned, I think excellent. Excellent. So because of India as an example, living example, religious harmony, so I fully committed, try to promote religious harmony. Then my third commitment is regarding Tibet. And as I already mentioned, regarding Tibet, political matter, I already retired. That also selfish reason. Politics always too much complicated. So in any way, you see, I think the 7th century, 8th century Tibet under one Tibetan king, entire Tibet is unified. Now I think around perhaps Langdharma. I think late the 8th century or 9th century, then central authority collapse. So then Tibet, different piece. So 8th century, 9th century, whole Tibet really unified. Now, whether fortunate or unfortunate, with my name, entire Tibet now unified. Isn't it? So my the third commitment is Tibetan. Fully trust me, as I mentioned earlier. All entire 7 million Tibetan now unified. So since they totally believe me, so I have the moral responsibility to think about their future, their thing, like that. So then fourth commitment is revival of ancient Indian knowledge in this country. We are students of Nalanda tradition. As a result, meeting with many people, including many scientists, then I realized the knowledge which we kept originally come from Nalanda. This something very relevant to today's world. Non-violence and compassion is very relevant to today's world. And this compassion, not just through prayer, but through reasoning. So over 3,000 years, India already have the practice of shamatha, practice of vipassana. So there's analytical meditation, analyze, not just faith. Like that. So I try to revival of this ancient Indian knowledge in modern India. That's my latest commitment. Wherever I go, I always telling these things. So response from Indian, many scholars, and we already start some program with cooperation with government college here, like that. So my commitment. So you as a supporter, now tell world, Tibet, you see, culturally, religiously, very rich. So world need this knowledge. Tibetan issue is something relevant about world humanity, isn't it? Not just small countries' independence, not that way, but basically, my main concern is Tibetan knowledge, as I mentioned earlier. So our supporters should sort of tell more people our Tibetan knowledge is something, and secular way, this is something useful for humanity to the world. So our supporter, since 1959, I came as a refugee. The number of people and eventually many Westerners really showing real sense of concern about Tibet. So I'm very, very grateful. Thank you. Thank you. So as I mentioned earlier, among the top Chinese, now they are thinking more realistic approach regarding Tibet. So I think within next 2-3 years, some change. Like that. But I always is saying that I love freedom. So India's freedom spoiled me. So now I very much sort of prefer free country rather than totalitarian sort of country, isn't it? But I very much willing visit China and including pilgrimage, those Buddhist centers in China. And also I want to exchange Chinese scholars, which I already mentioned. This is such sort of scholars in academic level I can discuss. So I very much want visit there and enjoy Chinese food. I think in Europe, Italy food, I think very good. Like that. So now, 84-year-old, but okay. They recently, from time to time, medical checkup. So the report, they say, my physical condition improve. So I think another 10, 15, 20 years, I will available. So we can meet again. Okay, thank you.
Your Holiness, on behalf of 73 Tibet support groups and 15 NGOs, they are so delighted to see you, so healthy and so joyful and full of your charm. And we want you to continue to spread the message of peace, compassion, religious harmony. You are the moral leader of not just Tibet, but of the whole world. So the world needs you, and please be healthy and live more than 113 years. This is our prayer.
Thank you. Thank you.
Personally, as you said, you have assigned me to handle political and complicated things. I just handled the sitting arrangement and earned a lot of bad karma. And it's a privilege and honor to be of service politically for you.
Thank you.
And next year, we will be celebrating, thank you, Your Holiness, His Holiness Dalai Lama, because we all know His Holiness has worked the hardest for Tibetan cause, for democracy, for human rights, for freedom all over the world. And this is a unanimous decision on the part of Tibetan people and Tibet Support Group that we would like to say thank you for all your hard work. Thank you.
Thank you.